Doctor Who, Season 13, Flux, Episode 6, The Vanquishers.
You realize this was the last episode of the Doctor's golden year? Like, the golden birthday? This is the Doctor's golden season because it's the 13th season of the 13th Doctor.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
What a great way to end.
Which has not happened since the first Doctor.
Well,
and will not happen again in the future.
Well, it's the 13th Doctor, and next season is Series 14, and the Series 14 will be with a new Doctor, so it'll be the 14th Doctor in the 14th series.
So that'll be another golden year.
Yeah. Then it'll be a while because assuming nothing happens to the 14th Doctor very quickly, like she doesn't pull they don't pull an Eccleston, then and only have one series, they'll probably use the 15th series, so the 15th Doctor won't get to use them that way, but 14th Doctor will have their first series in Series 14. Assuming all these specials that are coming out, we're going to just sort of sweep those into Series 14 as well. Series 13, rather.
Yeah, they do.
So
at least
even if they did sweep it into 14, it would still be not a full series, so you'd just do that. Anyway. But
unless I missed something, they still haven't addressed that couple with the baseball bat in their garage.
Yeah, they did. They did, like, in the first episode.
Okay, no, because all they did was they introduced them in the first episode.
Yeah, and
towards the very end, they haven't addressed them since.
And then they came back to them, and one guy got turned to dust, and that chick turned into that blue alien chick.
Oh, that was them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. I didn't recognize them.
It was kind of dark, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's...
This season is what the Flux.
Pretty much.
This season is a season I hope to forget quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, in Chibnall fashion...
I do like the characters. Like, I like I keep wanting to call him Castrovalva, which was a season, which was a story from the Fifth Doctor. No, Catervasta and Dan. I do like them, but the series itself is just like, you have way too much going on, bro.
Yeah,
and it's so disjointed.
It's Chibnall being Chibnall to the max. I'm gonna have all this crap happen. I'm gonna show off. Look at all these jumping arounds I can do it in time and place, and then the ending is gonna be a rush Deus Ex Machina that's not gonna do anything. It's gonna be completely ruin the whole bit, and it doesn't even make sense.
She didn't reverse it, so the entire universe is destroyed except for time again.
Well, and Earth was fine because it was under the shield while the Flux was active, and then they thought they shot the next Flux at the end, but that one was caught, which was stupid. If it was, did I mishear, or did they say that the what they were doing to finish off the universe was injecting antimatter into it?
Yep.
No. They were using antimatter to destroy the universe. They were using antimatter created outside the universe to destroy it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Okay,
that's a lot of antimatter.
Yeah, you basically need an antimatter universe to draw that antimatter from in order to wipe out that universe. The fact that the matter could be... I mean, they did throw it into Passenger a bit of it, but it was always... It was said like oh, those are the remnants. Like, most of it got eaten up by hitting the Cybermen, Daleks, and Sontarans.
Yeah.
Like, most of it got ate up by that, and then some of it was deflected by the shield. Then, just a few remnants got caught up in Passenger. It's like, if you wanted to break the universe completely, then you would have to just smash an antimatter universe, basically smash an antimatter universe into the main universe, and that's how you would have to do that.
For all you know, that's what they did, because they didn't explain where they got the antimatter.
But it wasn't enough antimatter.
Yeah, but you know what kind of a-holes the division is, so they very well could have destroyed an entire universe to destroy an entire universe.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they wouldn't, but just that they didn't. Because if all the antimatter they threw in was just, oh yeah, this is going to take out a few Sontarans, some Sontarans, some Daleks, and some Cybermen. Like, you would have to do
waves of flux, so they probably broke down.
Well,
and then
this was supposed to be the last one, the final.
Yeah.
So, like, if that was the case, like, that was nowhere near enough antimatter. Like, maybe the Ood interfered. Love an Ood.
Maybe. Yeah. Also, how were they planning on reversing it? Like, they said we're going to reverse it and replay it for you over and over and over again.
I mean, it kind of seemed like they had power over time, so...
Well, no, there was three entities. There was the blue one, the Swarm, the Azure, I think is something, I don't remember what her name was called, but I think it was something like Azure. And then there was Time itself. And Time was locked up. Time was sealed away. Could only exist on that planet. Apparently the Division had done that. And their plan was to use the events of the Flux to break Time out. But they failed. And so Time couldn't come in and wind things back and forth for them so they could enjoy destroying the universe over and over again. It's their...
Yeah, that won't get boring.
Yeah, that seems like a whatever. But yeah, that was their plan. We don't know exactly how they were going to release Time, but Time clearly made it obvious that they had failed. It's like, oh no, you came here in your failure, and it was just like, oh yeah, you're both dead, or at least disintegrated, and whatnot. And so Time is just there alone, and then apparently decided to be nice and reset the Doctor. It's like, maybe Time found her being in 3 places at once as the same being annoying. Like, I don't mind you moving around, but like you being in 3 places at once while you're supposed to be the same being bugs the crap out of me. So I'm going to throw you all 3 together. It's like, okay, you made this whole splitting them into 3. That was your idea, Chibnall. And so you're resolving it is just Time felt like putting her back together.
Yeah.
Okay, Dex.
Well, Time felt like putting her back together because it was convenient.
Okay, admit it. When you first saw there was like 3 doctors, you're like, oh great, now there's 3 of them.
It's... Yeah, I mean... Okay, so... This series. Visuals, some of it looks cool. A lot of it looks cool. The writing, as all, like, they've got some neat ideas in terms of like, ooh, let's build this and that and the other, and like I like the unit headquarters. Like, don't like who was there, but I liked the unit headquarters we got to see.
Yeah.
We haven't really gotten to see unit headquarters in a long time, and like that was cool. And there was, some of them have interesting, like the Centaurans and Cybermen and the Daleks are all, basic forms. So there's nothing really new there, but I think they did a decent job showing things. Just what they were showing was bull. Like, this series had some creative ideas that had no, but they were creative in the way that they ignored. It's like, no, this is how this works. This is how this works. She was like, oh, this is how this works now. Like, no, that's not how this works. This is how it works now. It's like, that's not how that's ever worked. No, this is how it works. Like, no, stop. It's like,
yeah, like I always thought the Sonic doesn't work on wood. How is she using it on those doors? I thought wood blocked the Sonic.
That was fake wood. Yeah, that's it.
Like, as long as it's, I think it's, was there, there's just like, there's so many problems with this thing.
I understand she was trying to scan behind it, but I'm pretty sure the Sonic doesn't work. This wood blocks the Sonic.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's just that it blocks it or it doesn't work on it. I couldn't tell you. But, yeah. There's a lot of things that didn't work. And the other thing on this whole business, okay, so through most of the Flux series, the Doctor really wants to know what's going on in her memories that she doesn't have.
That's the whole reason she started this ship.
Okay. She wants to know what's going on. What's the division? What's happening? Okay.
And now she's big.
Yeah. And so, like, normally, if this were, another Doctor, let's say this was 11. Okay. Like, 11 would, like, the way you would do that with 11 is you would have, like, Amy and Rory go off to bed to rest, and 11's just sort of good night, and he's playing around on it. He's doing something wacky and or working the controls of the TARDIS and whatnot, and then as soon as they go to bed, he sort of sets it down gently somewhere, like on an asteroid or something. And he opens it, and then you just see a single tear roll down his cheek. And you don't ever show exactly what was in there until later, when you can come up with whatever was in there later. Not that I approve of anything to do with the Timeless Child. Like, maybe.
But you think the point of that was that she regrets everything that happened because she was so eager to find it?
I don't know.
It's like trying to analyze the psychology of a schizophrenic, okay?
Like, and was this also just something on Chibnall's part where, like, he acknowledges how much people hate the Timeless Child? That he's like, okay, if you want to bury this and never bring it up again, like, the Doctor doesn't know what happened in those, so if you don't want to bring it up, I'm going to hide it. But if you want it, it's there.
Yeah.
And he just realized, I mean, that would be a colossal amount of self-awareness, and, humility on Chibnall's part. So maybe it was a hand down from BBC. It's like, okay, you can't, let's try and bury that as much as we can. We can't really put it back in the bottle now, but you can't put that. It's hard to put with all the crap you did in Flux. It's really hard to put that's the whole point of the Flux series altogether. That was the division and the missing doctors. It's like, it's really hard to put that genie back in the bottle. So, can we at least bury it where the next showrunner can just ignore it? Like, the Doctor doesn't know it exists. We've pretty much resolved the storyline around the missing doctors. So, if the Doctor never looks into it, we can just kind of pretend the timeless child doesn't exist. Yeah. So, and I think at some point, I wonder if we'll just get we have 3 episodes left with Chibnall, and it makes me wonder, like, the New Year's Eve is probably not going to do it. The New Year's episode is probably not going to do it. It's Daleks, so I don't think they'll be handling it. But I'm wondering, like, with all the crap that happened during the Flux, like, is he going to spend one of his remaining episodes just doing a universal reset? And just saying,
yeah,
it's like, okay, everything that was, like, that's fine. That's back. Everything's back. Like, something happens, and it resets the universe.
I do appreciate the fact that he saw the backlash he got by getting rid of UNIT, and he brought it back, and he, like, retconned that, saying, hey, yeah, it's not that UNIT's gone, it's just Kate left. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's just...
I appreciate that. Kate went underground.
Yeah, assuming that it wasn't a directive from above, and Chibnall wanted to keep UNIT gone, and they said, no, you're bringing UNIT back in one way or another, and that's the whole reason we have the Serpent, was just so that we could have them explain why UNIT was taken out, and then bring it back at the end. It's like, okay, yeah, now it's back. Now nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of the stuff, like, from that you were complaining about before was also, BBC directive, like the PC shit. A lot of that was BBC directive.
Well, I think that stuff, from what I've heard about Chibnall, I think a lot of that PC stuff was also, like, hidden. That was also, he was brought in because he aligned himself with that, and BBC wanted that, and Chibnall wanted that, but he's a crap writer, so he was one of the writers willing to do the work they wanted done, but when he did it, he did such a crap job of it that they were like, that it, they may have gone, okay, we can back off a little bit on that. And, oh yeah, that whole thing with getting rid of UNIT, that whole Brexit commentary, could we wind that back because we want UNIT to be around? And, oh yeah, this thing, can we just not have that be a thing? Like, can we bury the Timeless Child sort of storyline? Like, and it only really come up, like, if we ever get to the point where we run out of the regenerations that 11 got. It's like, yeah. Though weirdly, Time said something about no regenerations, no life, or something like that.
No. Time meant that the 13th Doctor's life was ending.
Okay.
He was saying no life, no regeneration lasts forever.
Okay, I must have, yeah.
So what he meant was your regeneration is coming to an end.
Okay. But
it was one of those, knock 4 times, your end will happen when he knocks 4 times kind of moment. But although that is kind of funny because you think about it, how many years did 10 go around, like between the premonition and when he actually died? And anytime he'd hear 4 knocks, he'd get all paranoid and like, no, I don't want to go. Dude, I have a package for you.
Knock, knock, knock. Your pizza's here. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, I don't want to go. Dude, and just give me the money and I'll go.
Yeah. It's always interesting when they leave a gap for the Doctor to, like, if I was show running, I would always find a point in time where they didn't have the companion with them. Like they drop the companion off for a day or two to do something, and then they go off and do something else, and they come back, and it's like, okay, now there's a canon gap where the Doctor is they're by themselves, and so now you can stick whatever you want into that.
That's how they got around. They skirted the whole, I'm 903 years old, even though he was 952 in his 7th regeneration. Because that whole thing started because the 9th Doctor said 900 years of traveling through space and time, and I've never been hit by anybody's mother, meaning he was traveling for 900 years, and he sold the TARDIS when he was about 200 years old, so he was about 1100 at that point, which would make sense between, 7th Doctor and Time War and all that. That's a pretty understandable timeline. And then you have the stupid, all of the writers after that saying, oh, he was traveling through space and time for 900 years. He must be 900 years old. I'm going to just add to that. And then when they realized, and then when they realized, oh, shit, we messed up, they had him drop off Amy and Rory for a while and then be like, all right, Doctor's going to travel for a while to make up the time difference so that his time is coherent.
Well, and you have, 11 was 11. If you stop down and look at how long 11 spent with, like 11, if you were to actually straighten out his timeline, like 11 was a really long regeneration.
It was.
Because he lasted so long.
He aged to death.
He aged into a regeneration. Like, the Doctor's... I don't know that the Doctor's ever done that.
Yes, he did. The first incarnation.
First one? Okay, I thought he was just... Yeah. Like, it was something else happened, and then that... He was old, and then... Okay.
This old body is wearing a bit thin.
Okay. It was like war. It was like nothing really happened to him. He just
died of old age.
He just regenerated out of So then there's two examples. Like, it rarely happens, but I guess it happens occasionally. One in war.
And the 2nd Doctor said he was 250 years old during his time with during Tomb of the Cybermen with Victoria, and he had a consistent companion from the 1st Doctor through that, because he had Ben and Polly, then Jamie, and he had Jamie throughout. And then as soon as Ben and Polly left, they picked up Victoria on like the very next adventure. So they had a pretty consistent thing. So he was probably about 245, 250 around there when he regenerated. So that's about the length of time of the lifespan. So is 200 some years, depending on how old he was to begin with.
Yeah, it's.
So he probably spent 200 years on Christmas.
Yeah, we're not told explicitly, but we knew it was a long time, and it was one of his longer regenerations. Assuming we know more about the other regenerations.
Yeah.
I mean, Big Finish adds pads it out a lot. So, but canon, and like hard canon series wise, he spent probably about 200 years on Christmas, based upon what the length of time his first regeneration lasted.
Yeah, it's just but yeah, I mean, if you stretch out his timeline, you got that, and he also started young, so
yeah,
he started by looking young, so like his regeneration, he lucked into a really young looking regeneration, and then he got old looking on Christmas, so
yeah.
So
plus, he said he was 1,200 years old in his 12th regeneration. So
yeah, but that's
about 300 years. 400. I mean, that would make about sense. Plus, there was all that time as the 4th Doctor, but I mean the 10th Doctor before he regenerated.
Yeah, it is. See, yeah, I was looking if I could find actual, like, if there was any mention of it on the TARDIS thing, but TARDIS wiki, yeah. See if there was any.
Wow, my mice are noisy today.
But yeah, well, just because I was closer to it, but yeah, it's.
I gotta say that the Grand Serpent was a very intelligent dumbass.
He was. And it makes me wonder, did Osgood go to ground when Kate did in order to protect
Probably.
Well, herself? She did tell Osgood, I'm going
dark.
Going dark, so that if she's going dark, then if it's something to scare off Kate Stewart, then Osgood's probably like, hey, we should probably make ourselves scarce for a while.
Yeah. I mean, he had great plans, but he did not have many contingency plans.
Yeah, and his execution of his plans was really faulty.
Yeah.
No, the thing was, he wasn't smart or intelligent. He was patient. He just kept at it. He just kept, hey, can I be in charge of unit? No. Fine. Fuck you. I'm going to kill you. Hey, can I be in charge of unit? No. Fine. Fuck you. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, see, I just thought he lived a really long time.
He did live a really long time, and he just killed everybody in his way.
Well, apparently he was like using time travel or something.
Was it time travel, or was he just really long-lived? Because according to like the thing, it seemed like he was consistently there.
Well, didn't like one of the guys he killed says you keep on disappearing for like periods of times and only coming back when you feel like it. He says, "Well, I got like other charities and stuff I do."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah, like I said, this season is what the flux.
What the flux, baby?
Yeah, don't do that.
Baby, yeah.
Don't do that. Don't ever do
that. Let's see. Well, the good news is the Doctor has less Cybermen and Daleks and all those things to worry about. I mean, there's still like millions of them probably, but yeah.
They're like cockroaches. You think you've wiped them out, and then there's that one left. For the next 300 years, the Doctor defends Trenzalore from his enemies in a number of ways.
Trenzalore? I thought it was Christmas.
Wait. I was looking at it might have been a town called Christmas, and then the planet is Trenzalore, because that's where his
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute since I saw this.
Yeah, I've been watching.
Which is really funny because I have the entire DVD set of the 11th and 10th Doctors.
Oh, I do too.
I just haven't watched in forever because that would mean getting up and turning on my Blu-ray player.
That's too much work, I know.
It is, because then I have to climb over stuff because my Blu-ray player is, is blocked off.
Yeah, it is a town. It's a town called Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, 300 years. Yeah, it's one of the longer lived generations.
So he lasted a long time, considering his first regeneration only lasted 250.
But yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't.
Well, I mean,
the thing is, we just
now that there's the timeless child thing.
Yeah, we have no idea how old the Doctor is at that point because of that. But
that would explain why he's always lying about his age, because he honestly doesn't know because he lost all those memories.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't.
It just explained all of the inconsistencies in Doctor Who.
I preferred it when he didn't know because he didn't remember because it'd been so long that he'd lost track. I preferred that is my explanation. Is like the Doctor kept losing track because, like he was saying, so unless I'm lying, sometimes I forget. like he forgets his own birthday because the whole.
Hey, who doesn't? Okay, shut up. Don't call me out like that, bitch.
What?
I forget my own birthday all the freaking time.
I sometimes forget how old I am.
I do too. I have to do the maths on it. Like,
oh yeah, 29.
36.
But yeah, he forgets it. That he stopped caring so much, so he just like I forget, and like he forgot his own birthday, so like the Missy had to remind him. It's like, don't you remember? Oh, glad one of us remembers. It's like, it's your birthday. It's like, which is a really weird concept. A birthday is a really weird concept for a time traveler. Because do you measure that by how long they've lived if you stretch their timeline out linearly, or if you like when you arrive at a date that is the same date as the date you were born, that's your birthday no matter what your chronological age is.
That wouldn't work because time is a non-linear construct anyways, altered by gravity and spatial deviations, and the fact that he's from another planet that has a different time frame. I'm sure Gallifrey isn't 365 days, and even if it is, their days might be longer or shorter than ours. Therefore, they don't, and obviously they don't use the Gregorian calendar, we use. So therefore,
I don't know, because the Doctor has shown up and given people like done things like like he's shown up as Berlin a few times. It's like it's always him. Like, could he be just showed up one time and he's the reason we have the Gregorian calendar and it's actually a Gallifreyan calendar? He just gave it to Earth so that Earth would be on the same kind of calendar.
Then it would have no, because the calendar came into being based on how it lines everything up.
Yeah, which
like
they could be lined up. Gallifrey could be. I mean, it's not that it would be improbable, but it's also improbable that humans look like Time Lords, so possibly.
Well, I mean,
he's like, Gallifrey just happens to have the same orbital period and rotation time, and he just like, okay, I want to always know I want to have it the same calendar here as I do back home, so here, Earth, you're going to have a calendar that I'm going to introduce my influence. I'm going to introduce a calendar. It's not going to really affect anything, but it's just sort of convenience for me.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I mean, it's not a. It's.
That sounds
Is
like
it
something.
likely? No.
Right.
Is it possible? Yes.
That sounds like something Chibnall would write.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's that sort of. But at least this one, there's no direct conflicts because we've never really been given a what is the orbital period of Gallifrey? What is their how long is their day? We don't know that. So,
but again, even determinant of gravity, which, considering that Time Lords, or at least the Doctor, has certain physical variations, like a binary vascular system, the fact that they have a respiratory bypass, as stated in the Sixth Doctor episode, The Two Doctors. All of these slight variations on, internal physicality would mean that their environment is moderately different enough that, it would change how the time would work on their planet.
Yeah. No, well, that doesn't really if it's just maybe it's a bigger planet, but it rotates more slowly, or it rotates at the same speed, yeah, it could be a bigger planet, but it just rotates at the same speed, its same angular speed. It might be a bigger planet, but it rotates. It rotates around their solar system at the same period. None of that really changes. It could be a different sized planet and just it could be slightly bigger or slightly smaller. It could be a bit bigger or a bit smaller. It's still a rocky planet, so it's probably going to err towards the inner rings. And I'm not an expert on orbital mechanics, but if it just happens to rotate at the right speed, and it happens to go around and be in a similar, similar period of the sun, I'm not sure that there's enough there to say that it couldn't be, but I don't think you can directly rule out them having a similar calendar. It's just we don't know. We don't know enough about it, unless there's some deep lore that, oh yes, the Gallifreyan day is 26 hours and 30 minutes compared to Earth. We don't know that, but yeah, I don't think it directly contradicts that, but it's beside the point. We're talking about Time Lord birthdays. It's such an abstract concept. It's and how did Missy know that he was if it is based on his timeline, how does she know that he's exactly that many years old? Is the time travelers meet each other out of order sometimes? It's oh yes, he will appear here and he will be exactly this, he'll be having a birthday when he arrives here. If I do something now, this Doctor will show up. This version of the Doctor will show up and say, oh yeah, no, he's going to be exactly the right age. It's I don't know. Time travel make your eyes go cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Yes. Temporal mechanics is funky.
Pretty much.
Temporal mechanics.
Which is why I find it fascinating.
I was more quoting O'Brien there.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
But
for the benefit
I'm
of
just
the listener.
I was just saying I find it fascinating because it's so wonky.
Yeah. Suffice to say, the Doctor is so old at this point that they forget if they're lying about their age or not. So,
yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed we've quickly gotten away from the Vanquishers. Like, yeah,
yeah, those guys were like, "What the flux is wrong with you?"
Yeah, I mean, we started off on that. That's known. If that was the antimatter, like, if a remnant was going into the passenger, like, and that wasn't the bulk of it was going into the passenger, like,
it could have been the bulk of it because
well, the way they were talking, it didn't sound like it.
Space. No, well, infinite space.
Oh, I'm not talking about the requirements. I'm talking about the way they were talking around it. It sounded like you had the enemies of the Doctor got wiped out, then the shield absorbed some of it, and then there was a remnant that they put into the passenger. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like there was more of it got ate up dealing with the Daleks and all that, and like there was a little bit left over that went into the passenger. It sounded like, but
yeah,
that's just what it sounded like. I could be wrong. That's just the impression I got.
Think about the remnant, and what remains after all that could still be a significant enough amount to wipe out the universe.
Yeah, but that's not what it sounded like. It sounded like there was a little bit left over escaping. What it sounded like, we don't know, but it sounded like that's the impression I got from the episode, was that there was a little bit left, and that was what the passenger was for. But maybe I got the wrong impression, but
the impression I got was that, yeah, let's let them wipe out the Daleks and the Cybermen because we don't like them, and then we'll stop it.
But yeah, I don't know. It was okay. So another thing. I guess that they did explain how the Grand Serpent got back to the start of UNIT, because the Sontarans have temporal ships, so they could drop him off back then. Because that was something that was sort of sticking in my craw a little bit. Was okay. Well, because from the Serpent was dictator of that place out in space. Then again, I guess it could be the other way around. He was messing. Well, then he could mess with UNIT and then become the Grand Serpent, as he was eventually known, leading that place that the.
But no, because he was known as the Grand Serpent before he started fucking with UNIT. So.
Yeah, when he was called the Grand Serpent, then messed with UNIT, then became the dictator. But yeah, that could be a thing. But
the way they spoke of him when they saw him, it made you think that other stuff already happened.
Yeah, like in his personal timeline, he was already the dictator, the ruler of that whatever that nation was. That the guy who ran the out in the middle of nowhere station, that guy is. Yeah. Like that guy, he did that. He got ousted, and then came back in time with the Sontarans at some point, and they dropped him off to deal with UNIT, or they dropped him off way back in the day because, like, they had all those people that were working with the snake tattoos when they were going through time. So it would have been probably dropped him, since he doesn't really age. They probably dropped him off in the 1800s somewhere, late 1800s, and he started building his organization, and then he's been around, and then he showed up at Unit. Then,
yeah, that's what I'd assumed. I'd assumed that he had actually spent all that time, and the statement of, "Hey, you keep disappearing." He's like, "Yeah, I have other obligations." Like, well, then you're too busy just to run Unit. It's like, fuck you. That's not what I meant.
But yeah.
But when he was away, he was busy building his cult.
Yeah. Anytime he wasn't dealing with Unit, he wasn't there for Unit. He was building up those people that were Snake, which I
mean, considering how much Snake jewelry I have,
which
I'm not a servant of the Grand Serpent.
Which is also interesting, given his ambitions. Like, he had 100 years to mess with this, at least. And over 100 years. Probably closer to 100, at least 120, probably. Well over a century. I wonder what his reaction, assuming he just lived through this. He just doesn't age, and he just lived through all this. If he wasn't just, like, pulled in and dropped out of time, like... and just, like, he doesn't age, really. Assuming that, like, there are some events in the Doctor Who universe that, like, was that wiped out, though? No, I don't think it was wiped.
Which events?
I was talking about, like, there's some interesting events that would have been interesting to see how his reaction would have been, like Harold Saxon, the Master, or was it Harold? It was Saxon.
Yeah, Saxon.
Yeah, Master, when he ran for Prime Minister, when he became Prime Minister, like,
that would have been interesting for him to see his reaction to.
Yeah, especially if everybody's now looking at the Master. Like, was that? No, it happened. Just some of the things didn't happen because of the paradox resolved. But
but I'm pretty sure the paradox resolved was all the things that happened during the crack in time. Like, that created a closed loop.
Yeah, and it fixed itself. And so you have Harold Saxon become the...
So everything that happened prior to that and everything that happened after that is still contiguous, while the events during the season with the crack in space was erased.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched like that era of Doctor Who. It's like, okay, well, there was a paradox and they had to resolve it, and I don't remember where they all cut it out, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure, because the universe was being eaten away by those cracks in time, and so when the TARDIS exploded, he used that energy to recreate the universe. And so it was just the stuff that was erased during the cracks in time, and it was recreated. So just that gap was rewritten.
God damn, the universe is on the verge of destruction like all the time, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Every once in a while, yeah.
At least once a year.
Usually at Christmas.
Yeah. No, New Year's now.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, how many New Years have we had? So the overall percentages. But, yeah, the Doctor is there to try and sort of, when the timeline gets all wonky and people try working paradoxes, like, no, slap them on the wrist, no, and then, okay, let me get the blue tack and the duct tape and we'll fix this timeline so it's consistent again. Oh, it's straightened. Yep. All right, there we go. Okay. That event didn't technically happen, but we remember it, but it didn't happen. So, yeah. Don't try talking to anybody about it because they won't remember.
Unit has a solution for people who remember it. They have the memory erasal.
Yeah. Well, and if the doctor wants it, they can just have the memory worm. Just have to remember to use the glove.
True.
That's
Like,
one
oh, no,
of the funniest moments in one of the funniest moments is just the whole bit with Strax and the 11th Doctor and the memory worm. I seem to have been run over, sir. Did you forget to use the gauntlet?
At least you know another's entire weakness: chocolate.
Only when they've been on Earth for too long. Like,
I wonder how much chocolate Strax goes through.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, yeah, he's also, if that's the case, that they need some environmental changes to be able to survive on Earth. Like, okay, he's got to keep that technology going. So does he have those cravings?
Well, you remember in that one, you remember in that one audio, the Paternoster audio, where he plugs himself in. So
yeah, to charge the electricity or something.
Yeah, so he uses electricity to charge himself, kind of like a Borg. But at the same time, he probably still gets those cravings.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Well, I could go for chocolate right now, actually.
Sontaran stuck on Earth crave chocolate. That's an interesting bit of lore added.
But that one makes more sense than a lot of his lore.
Yeah, he throws in weird lore, which is not unusual for Doctor Who, but sometimes he doesn't bother. Oh, look, this is a cheeky little bit of lore I can throw in. We haven't ever had that before, except you have, and it's been rather recent. Or the Division is, this is new, this is a thing.
No, it's not. It's called the CIA. Called the Celestial Intervention Agency.
Well, and the fact that, this whole going between dimensions is a big thing, and it's like, no, 10 said it's like, no, we did that all the time in the past when the Time Lords were active. They'd keep those lanes open for us, and we could just pop between them.
Yeah, but if you remember, those lanes were closed down.
Yeah, but the technology is not, they never lost the technology. Like, they lost the Time Lords, but the technology was never really a lost technology. It was just that the Time Lords weren't there to do it. And the fact that
if you think about it, it was probably the Division that created that technology.
Possibly.
And the Division isn't a new concept because it has existed in other forms. It was at one point known as the CIA, and I think in some of the Big Finish audios, it also existed as the Division, if I remember correctly.
Well, but it sounded like Tecteun was going, "Oh yes, this is magnificent, isn't it?" And it's like,
no, she was more bragging about the whole fact that she's wiping out an entire universe. Not so much that we can travel between it. It's we're outside of the dimension of your universe, and we're destroying it because of you. Because you were naughty, I'm taking away your toys.
Yeah,
and killing your puppy.
Yeah, but
you were naughty.
It was your pets. Essentially being outside the dimension, the universe wasn't the leap that some people might remember. It's not a leap. That's not even close to being a leap for Time Lord tech. Assuming she has the latest Time Lord tech, then she's dead. That's being outside is not a thing. That's not a big thing for them. In fact, 10 did it without any help. It's annoying and it's hard, but you can do it. I'm trying to remember all of these episodes and all the crazy crap that Chibnall threw at us. It's like, was that? Yeah, I only saw that once, and it's like, okay, was that? But yeah, it wasn't the division headquarters weren't magnificent. They were just the ability to do the flux was the only thing, and even then, it wasn't well explained.
Also, it could be the fact that they were outside universes as opposed to just bouncing between them. Because when the Doctor traveled between universes, like, between our universe and Pete's world, you remember they didn't really travel between, like, going through the vortex. It was more 1 minute they're there, 1 minute they're there.
Your memory about it's going to be better than mine because I don't remember it very well. I just remember that line that, we used to do this all the time, but then the Time Lords went away and, well, they stopped maintaining those lanes. And so this is going to be difficult. This is going to suck.
So it's kind of like being proud that you were able to get off the highway and hang out on the side of the road, but floating over, like, how the highways have those bridges and stuff. It's like being able to float on the side of the bridge as opposed to being on the bridge.
Yeah. At any rate, and it was just a big cluster. This whole flux thing was a big cluster of.
It was a flux.
Yeah, there was okay, we have these new characters. Oh yeah, we're gonna Deus Ex Machina them at the end, so we don't have to deal with them later.
Yeah.
What about Time, the guy who's taking out your Deus Ex Machining them? Oh no, he's trapped on. Time's trapped on the planet. Yeah, he can't leave. Atropine. Yeah, he can't leave there. Atropos. Atropos. Yeah. Atropine is a medicine, but I think either in Star Trek or it's generally, but
yeah. Well, atrophy.
Atropine is a different thing. Atropine is medicine.
Causes. I think atropos is a term was used because it's a play on atrophy, which means like what time does to deteriorate things.
It depends on from not using it. So Time is still there, and the two others are there or were dusted by Time, and it's just sort of all this what this amounts to is some of the universe is destroyed. Which also is weird because the only thing that was shielded from the flux was Earth. When the flux came through the solar system, did the flux hit the sun? Like, do we still have a sun? I don't remember that.
Yeah. And I'm also, what about the other planets and the moon and all that?
Yeah, I'm sure at some point Chibnall will probably hit the reset button and go.
Yeah. No, just watch. They're gonna do the tried old tradition of the very next episode. Nothing happened.
We don't need to explain anything.
It's just all back to normal.
Yeah, Flux didn't actually destroy anything. Everything's back to normal.
It was all a dream.
Yeah.
Time reversed itself.
Yeah, or
when time fixed her, Time fixed everything, even though it's still locked up, which doesn't make much sense because it means his power is still waned. So, I mean, how? But okay.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to do anything else, but when I need to Deus Ex Machina this whole thing, I'll just reset the universe back to the way it was and set the Doctor back to the way she was, and boom, everything's good. All right, go back anyway. The only thing that's changed in this whole situation is that you have a fob watch now with all your memories in it that you will never access.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed.
I am sad that old professor dude died. I liked him.
I know.
Well, at least if he was gonna have gonna die. At least he
died a heroic end.
Yeah. You know what I want to know though is whatever happened to that little girl that was with them?
She grew up in the village. Remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
She was the old lady in the 60s.
I remember that, but I guess they just like dropped her off at like at her aunt's or something.
Or an orphanage or something.
Yeah. Like, no, I want to come with you guys.
No, she had to stay there because of that. Although I was kind of sad for Dan because it really wasn't his fault. He was abducted by aliens, literally.
Yeah.
And so he missed his date. I swear it wasn't my fault. I was late. It was aliens. It was the dog guy. You met the dog guy.
It's like, hey.
You abducted too. Come on.
It's okay, Doctor. Could you drop me off last night?
Well, I mean, it's been a couple weeks because if you remember, it was December 5th that they finished everything.
Yeah, well, whatever it was. Whenever. Could you drop me off on this date at
Halloween.
this time? It's like,
You drop me off Halloween night. I have a date to get to.
Oh, and if you don't mind...
Who knows? Maybe she will.
And it's like, if you don't mind, can you, I don't know, make my house big again? I'm currently using it as a keychain. And I think I left my cat in there. Meow.
Oh, he didn't even have cat food. He didn't have anything. he could use that. Hey, listen, I think your name was Doris, right? Yeah. Doris, can I stay with you? I have no place to live now. My house was shrunk by the dog guy.
Are you on drugs?
Every time I see Chibble's name...
You met the dog guy.
Every time I see his name, my mind automatically reads it as chin balls.
Me too. Actually, at one point, I did make that into a meme. I did make that into a meme of Chibnall, chin balls. Know the difference.
That would be a bald chinian from the Men in Black movies.
No. I used hold on. I have it somewhere.
So, anything else about this episode?
I can't wait for the last 3 episodes of this to get out and we can be out from under Chibnall's show running.
Oh.
Hopefully. Here we go.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what it was. Chibnall? Chin balls. One writes, one erases. Because I used Thanos because he got chin balls.
Okay. Anyway, well, it's been rather. We've run around this episode because there's just
so much shit.
And yeah, just trying to remember all the things that were wrong. And I guess if we don't have anything else to say, I'll go ahead and call it there.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Nothing useful anyway.
Okay.